What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Welcome back to another episode of the Unfiltered Experience, where we have unfiltered conversations designed to move your confidence and your clarity and your actions forward so that you have excuses no more. You have a life that you're proud of, the life that you wake up excited about every single day, because when you apply the things that we talk about here on the show, it's pretty incredible how that compound interest for your mind starts to grow. Think about it. You take every one of these shows. We've been doing this now. This is episode number, I think it's 147. So this is the 147th episode of the Unfiltered Experience. We've been doing this. And we did a show before this for about a year during COVID called Friday Night Live. So we've been doing this for a while. So episode 147, you think about that, 147 episodes. We've had some stellar guests. We've done solo shows here, but guess what? Think about that. You take three things from those shows, three things, 147. What's 147 times three? Somebody tell me that in the chat. Somebody tell me 147 times three. I know it's a lot. When you think about it, is it reasonable? Is it realistic to get three things done a week? There's 7 days in a week. There's 24 hours in a day. Can you get three actionable items that come from this podcast and apply them in your life consistently? Yes, you can. And guess what? When you do, things change, your mindset change, your perspectives change, your confidence increases. You start to realize the things you've been putting off are stuff that you can do right now. Oh my God, I wish I would have done that sooner. This is something that's been ringing in my head so much lately because I've seen so many people talking about this. Like, man, I wish I would have coached with you sooner. Man, I wish I would have gotten healthy sooner. I wish I would have got off the medication sooner. I wish I would have left that person sooner. I wish I would have changed jobs sooner. You think about your life. And if you haven't done something that you should have done a long time ago, you're going to be saying that. You're going to make the decision. You're going to go through the process and you're going to say, man, I should have done that sooner. Do not have regrets, ladies and gentlemen. This life is to be lived right now. This is a reminder for you. This life is to be lived right now. Don't have excuses. Don't have regrets. Take the shows that we've been putting out here, Scott and I, and put them to use. And then come back and tell us about that. And then more importantly, go pay that forward. Take your gift, take the success and the results and the confidence that you've gained from watching these episodes and putting them into action, and then go help somebody else. Right? We're all lifting a person along. We're all lifting each other along. The guest I'm about to introduce to you tonight, the surprise co-host, is a mentor of mine. He's a dear friend of mine, and we have great, deep conversations. So I'm excited to have this conversation with him tonight, right here live with you guys. Whether you're live on the video cast or, of course, you're listening on the audio podcast. Thank you guys so much. We're doing really great. We appreciate you guys tuning in from all the different countries. We're going to be here for a long time. Let us know who you want to have on the show. If you have an idea of a guest you've heard on another podcast, perhaps yourself, you have an amazing story you'd like to share about overcoming some tragedy in your life and being able to become resilient and unstoppable. That's what the show's about. Let me know, because you can go to theunfilteredexperience.com, theunfilteredexperience.com, for you guys that like to see it in the print form. There it is on the screen for you, theunfilteredexperience.com. You can join our Facebook community, join that community. And if you're going through stuff right now, pop in there. This is a safe space. This is a great community of people like-minded, right? We're all misfits for life. Jump into that community and let us know what you want to see. Tell us what you're struggling with, and we'll do shows on that very subject. Again, thinking about what it is we're here. We're here to serve. We're here to lift everybody up, because when we all lift up, we make this world a better place. And that's my goal with this. And this is also Scott's goal with this. And by the way, Scott sends his dear regards. He is out there expanding minds right now. He's running a men's retreat. Definitely check in with Scott and do one of his men's retreats. I'm actually going to be doing it here pretty soon. It's long overdue. So connect with Scott, do his men's retreat. And of course, always go love now. Check out Scott, go love now. So we love you, Scott. We miss you, Scott. I told Scott to tune in if he had a chance, but he was going to be starting his men's retreat tonight. So check in with that. And so I decided, because I like to do these things, I like to come live every Friday night. It's a great way to end my week. It's a great way to kind of take all the enthusiasm and perhaps the lessons I've learned during the week and kind of share them with you, right? Because we're all going through a journey. We're all going through things. Many people tell me that, like, Chris, it must be so nice to be you, because you're always so positive and you're always so amplified and you're always so this. God's honest truth, I struggle too, guys, very often. And I have those moments of feeling like an imposter. I have those moments where I have that huge doubt. I have those moments where I'm afraid of, what that next step might feel like if I really take a big step in things. So, but I just have the mechanisms and the ways and the methods and the people in my life to help me go through those transitions much faster than I ever did before, because I invest in myself. I invest in myself personally, professionally, spiritually. I surround myself with the great people in my life, because that's what elevates me. And that's what has continued to help me have this amazing life that I want to share with you guys. So if that is something that it nears to you, let me know, because I've also got this incredible group accountability coaching program. Check it out. DM me if you're interested in having accountability at a very affordable price. I highly suggest you direct message me and get in this group, because it's amazing, it's affordable, and it will actually change your life. That all said, ladies and gentlemen, what's up, Robert Broker? Thank you very much for joining us. He says, hi, Christopher. Tonight, we have the opportunity and the privilege to speak with a gentleman who is very wise. And I do not say that nonchalantly. He's very wise. He's got a lot of wisdom. He's got a lot of personal experience in life and dealing with and overcoming tragedy. We're going to be talking about tonight. The title of the show is Overcoming the Human Condition. And we're going to kind of dive deep into that, because that's something that I thought me and this gentleman can actually, really go rich and deep in that. We encourage your questions if you're watching live. Afterwards, if you still have questions, let's send them to us. We'll be happy to answer them. I can send them to Jock if you have a question for him. We're here to have this conversation with you, right? So please help me welcome to the Unfiltered Experience none other than my mentor, my best friend, my brother, Mr. Jock Brocas from Scotland. What's going on, brother? Actually, he's from South Carolina or whatever it is. But what's up, brother? Welcome to the Unfiltered Experience. My guest co-host tonight.
I am delighted and I'm very honored to be a co-host to, filling in for our good friend there as well. So hopefully he's having a great time with the wonderful men that he's guiding as well. So big shout out to him. And a belated happy birthday to him as well, which we're obviously
catching up to me.
Missed that one. But yeah, I'm delighted to be on, especially getting into this subject matter that we're going to get into tonight.
Yeah, the human condition. I have to say something. I just realized I just looked at myself in my monitor, and I realized that people are probably wondering why I have a flower coming out of my hat.
I'm gonna tell this little story.
I'm gonna tell this little story because there's a point to this story that the reason why I kept it in here, and then we're gonna jump in with a question that I have for you. So I was just outside playing with my son. He's joined the soccer league. So we're out there playing soccer, and I'm like, I'm going to get all out of breath and tired before I even start the show. But he pulled one of these sunflowers for you guys listening on the radio, on the podcast. He pulled this little sunflower out of our garden and he gave it to me. He goes, "This is for you, Dad." And you think about the moments in our life, ladies and gentlemen, sometimes we want so much in our life. We want the big things. We want the ego. We want the validation. We want the cars and everything. But just in that moment, out of my entire day today, and I've had some really great moments today, my son handing me this flower and looking me in the eye and like saying, "I want this for you, Dad." And so I was like, "All right, buddy." And I didn't have a place to put it. So I put it, if you guys are thinking about this, I have my hat on backwards. So I put it in the little brim of my band in the front, and it's, kind of popped out. So I got this little beautiful sunflower coming out of my head. And when I looked at myself in the mirror, I thought I looked ridiculous. But then I thought about it. It actually matches my mood right now, because I am happy. I'm feeling really good, because over the course of the last couple of weeks, and especially since I quit drinking 4.5 months ago, I've had a lot more opportunity to explore my thoughts and really go deep into my thoughts and figure out what it is that I'm running from, what it is that I was running from, and why that alcohol became more of a tool rather than an enjoyment. So my first question to you, Jock, and we can start, we're going to start broad, and then we'll kind of dive deep and see where we go with this. But what do you think I mean by what is the human condition? And what do we have to do to overcome that human condition? What do you think that condition is? I think that's a great conversation for us to dive into.
It's a brilliant thing to start with. And here's what I would say to anybody out there is when you're talking about the human condition, the first thing that comes to my mind is that it's temporary. The human condition is temporary.
Very.
But we as spirits having a human experience exist for all time. So I would say that because we have a deep, powerful spirit, because we have a deep, innate power within us, a divine power within us, that power helps us to overcome any human condition that causes us suffering. So when we talk about the human condition, there's a rich tapestry of emotions involved in that, and there's a rich tapestry of experiences. Some experiences are great experiences. The experience that you just had with your son and the flower, a great experience, an experience that you're going to hold on to. But then there's some experiences that rip you apart, like losing friends, like having to change your health because you have to make the choice or you're going to die.
Right.
Or making a choice to experience something that elevates your life.
Mm-hmm.
The fact is that this human condition is temporary, but we have some great spiritual gifts given to us. First, we have the gift of choice.
Mm-hmm.
We have the power of awareness. We have the power to change anything from any human condition that we have. And we have to also be willing. I always say to people, there's three elements to life that you need to really consider: awareness, acceptance, and choice. Awareness, we have to have an awareness of anything in this life. That to have an awareness of something in order to change anything or transform anything, comes from awareness. It comes from a deep conscious awareness that comes up from a deep your spiritual roots, your spiritual being, divine power. And then we have to go to a place of acceptance. And then we have the choice. We have the choice to take action upon that. So I think we think about the human condition. A lot of people fear the human condition because they think that I've had nothing but suffering in my life, but you know that you have got the power inside of you to change that. And you can just choose to stop that. You can choose to create a new experience. And this whole life that we're living now, temporary as it is in this plane of existence, is all about experiences. That is part of our human condition.
Yes, I have 3 questions. I have 3 jumping off points just based on what you just gave me right now, and I didn't want to lose them, so I actually wrote them down. You know me, my fucking monkey brain that I forget shit. Okay, cool. So you mentioned in that beautiful array of wisdom, you mentioned in there a few times the word power, right? And so oftentimes people don't think they have the power within themselves. They don't believe in themselves. You're like, right? I sell these wristbands that say on one side of it the word believe, and people talk to me about that. They get the no excuses, they get the unstoppable. Like, why did you choose the word believe? And I said, because it's very important for us to really have that initial faith and that understanding that no matter what it is that we go through, we get to grow through. We get to go through those challenges that helped us make us stronger, right? And so we get that opportunity, like you said, we get to have that choice to choose our perspective. But what is that power? What is that power, and why do some people believe that they don't have it? And what do you suggest for them to connect with that power?
Let's make it simple for people to understand that power.
I love it.
A seed that is planted in the ground grows because of the divine power that animates it. Without it, it doesn't exist. That same power that animates the seed to grow, that becomes a beautiful, let's say, just it looks like a little seedling, and then the seedling becomes a little bush, and then it becomes a tree, and then it becomes a forest, and then it's, it came from that one thing, that seed. And that seed that exists is only animated by an animating divine force that permeates all of the universe. Without that, you don't exist. That is where your power comes from. The problem is that people do not see, or sorry, I don't want to say they see, do not, because it's kind of getting into a whole new lesson there, but they don't feel. I want to use the word feel. They don't think they can feel that power. But it's that same power that makes them
feel
open
that power
their eyes
from
in the
where?
morning.
Feel that power from where? I hate to interrupt you, but
inside
where do they feel
themselves.
it? They feel it in their heart, their head, their feet, where their ass. Where does that power felt?
I wouldn't even say it was. I wouldn't say it was in the heart. It was in the head. It's an awareness. Is that same power that makes you open your eyes in the morning. That same power that, for instance, you've said in so many of these podcasts and so many of your own stuff. You wake up every morning and you start to give thanks, and you're thankful for the day and you're everything else. But where does that power drive you from? It comes from that divine source, and it comes from deep inside of you. It is a soul connection rather than it just being something that is in a biological or physiological process. It is beyond the human condition, but it powers the human condition to experience consciousness as it is. So that very power that makes you open up your eyes in the morning and hear the tweets of the birds outside, even the noise of the trash truck is a beautiful experience. If you accept it as it is and not let it annoy you. Every experience that enters our senses is a beautiful experience. And I'll tell you a little story. Many years ago, I was in a coffee shop, and because obviously, as I work as a medium and things, I'm very sensitive to noise. And I would be inside this coffee shop, and it would be so noisy, and it would get to me, and it would drive me crazy. And I could hear everybody talking and screaming, and kids screaming, and then the table next to me, and then the laughter and everything else, and it was getting to me. Until there was that moment, the moment when I realized it's okay. This is beautiful
Mm.
because they're all living their experience. And it's
Well, that was
my
like a huge aha moment for you, right? I
well,
bet you felt a
massive.
ton of release, right?
Yeah, immediately, because I had the awareness, I had the acceptance, and then I moved to the choice. And the choice was, okay, I I'm going to own it. I'm annoyed. I can feel myself annoyed at this moment, but it's their experience and it's a divine experience. Why should I be annoyed? And it's my own judgment of the situation that is causing my suffering. And anything in life, it's the judgment of the situation that causes your suffering. So I was causing my own suffering. They weren't doing anything wrong. They were enjoying each other's company.
Yeah.
The kid was screaming because, well, the kid screams. And it was my judgment of it. So when I realized that, I could change instantly in that moment and begin to experience it completely differently. And
Mm.
that allowed me to then embrace it and enjoy it and live it.
Exactly, man. And what you're talking about right now is something that, as we're keeping it simple, right? And I love what you said there. The fact that there's 5 words. It is what it is, right? And you talked about that acceptance. I call it the AAA effect. It's a awareness, acceptance, and action. So we have to be aware of the situation.
Yeah.
We have to accept it. We may not like it, and it may not be our fault and everything else, but once we accept it, it is what it is. We accept it. Then we get to change. We get to take that action, that imperfect action, to be able to go and fail our way to success. I was saying this to a young man the other day, and I said, he goes, man, you seem really happy and really successful. And I said, you know how I did it? And he's like, yeah, what'd you do? What'd you do? Like, he's like all ears. And I said, I failed my way to success. I kept taking imperfect action. I kept making what I thought was an ass of myself, what I really wasn't. I was just somebody who was earnestly trying to learn and trying to grow and saying, okay, wow, that's another way not to do it. I didn't look at it as a mistake. I'm like, okay, everybody else has had to make mistakes in their life too. And if I can change my perspective about the mistake actually being a learning opportunity, then can I get excited about those learning opportunities? Because as long as I don't make the same learning opportunities over again, I'm not being an idiot. I'm continuing to learn and grow. But so many people are afraid of what's this word that I'm going to ask you this next question about: perfection.
Before you ask me about that next question about perfection, I'm going to jump in and edify something you said, because I think this is important. You
Okay.
turned around and you said, okay, the mistakes I made, and then I used it as a learning opportunity. So here's the thing that I would say. See, to me, and personal opinion, mistakes are illusions.
Mistakes are illusions.
Mistakes are illusions. Mistakes are only missed opportunities for growth, and you hit it on the head.
Mm-hmm.
If we hold on to the whole idea of making a mistake, then we follow a belief system that everybody says that mistake is wrong and that you've made a mistake, and so it hits us in a negative way. But if I change that mindset and I'm like, you know what, it's just a missed opportunity. I don't have to accept that.
Right. But you get to change it. You have to change it. You have to change it.
It's an illusion. It's an illusion. So it's a missed opportunity. And I loved how you say that, because that's what it is, guys. That's what it is, ladies and gentlemen. No such thing as mistakes. Don't beat yourself up about it, and do not embrace the negative because someone perceives it as a mistake that you made. It's not.
Right. Now, let's go deep on that for a second. Let's go deep, because I love to go deep with you. Why do we perceive mistakes as being bad? Where do you think that generates from?
I would say it's behavioral conditioning from parents, ancestors, false expectations and perceptions in history. I mean, I don't want to get political, but we can go way back in history and get to, politics of the day, even back in ancient Samaria, and it's always existed. So
Yeah.
there's always a false perception that creates. All right, let's do this. Anybody out there has read or has studied the Summa Theologica, which
The who, what, where? Mr. PhD motherfucker. Let us sema hookah waka waka.
I can't remember. So Thomas
What you
Aquinas.
talking about, Willis? What you talking about, Willis?
What you talking about, Willis? Thomas Aquinas wrote basically I won't even say a thesis, but rules and regulars, this discourse, a discourse way back in the days, 15th century, I believe it was, right?
Wow. They didn't have computers back then, right?
And if there was no AI. Actually had to write the book rather than actually doing it in 10 minutes.
That's what you did in elementary school, right?
Yeah, no, I had the big pencil with a big desk to write like this.
Nice.
But see, in there we talk about divine law, natural law, man's law, right? And so let's take away the divine law and everything else to the side, and let's look at what man's law is. A man's law is based on perceptions and expectations, and most of these perceptions and expectations are disconnected from source, distanced from what the divine principle or divine authority would be, and so is based on man's false assumptions. And so what happens is what I think is this permeates through time, and these perceptions, expectations, and these behaviors become entrenched into our makeup.
Yep.
And then,
like ruts in a road.
That's it. We get taught. And that's what it is. We get conditioned to then accept that what you did was a mistake and it was wrong. Now, somebody's going to say to me, well, what about if you make a mistake and you put your hand in a fire, you get burned? Yeah, that's I can see where you're saying that is, but you've also learned a really good lesson. You're not going to put your hand in the fire again, and that was a missed opportunity for growth, right? So if
that's
you're
how we learn, unfortunately, half the time is
yeah.
we sit there and poke around in the fire and we get burned. Then we go, oh shit, there was rules. And that's what I was teaching my son the other day is about the word consequence, right?
Yeah.
I said something resulted in something, and I said, dude, that was all you. I said, think about your actions. Your choices of what you did have resulted in this consequence. You have chosen this. This is nothing to do with me, baby. You kept choosing to disregard what I was saying. And I kept telling you, if you continue to do this, there's going to be a consequence. Are you ready for the consequence? And he didn't even ask me what the consequence was. So the consequence happened. And I'm like, that's what happened, dude. There's like a ripple effect, you know, the yin and the yang and type thing. That's what you're talking about, right?
Exactly. I mean, we could go right into karma and everything else with that, but it's very simple. You get close.
I have
to
a different
fire,
rabbit hole I want to go down,
and we'll go down that. So you get close to the fire. It's hot. It's a missed opportunity, because the opportunity would be, why is it hot? I don't want to go near that. That feels uncomfortable. No, I'm not going to need it. But even when I was a kid, I was like, oh, I wonder if I touch that, is it really that hot? And then you end up in hospital. So yeah, it's very much like that. And there's consequences to your actions. And you've got to be ready to embrace those consequences if you decide to take that path. Most people are not willing to embrace the consequences. They then want to pass everything over to the side. They then want to, just kind of shove it under the desk and not think about it, but it's still going to come back. You're still going to have.
Does that work? Does that work, Jock?
No.
When people sweep it under the rug, they just trip it over it later, right? And then winds up breaking their face wide open.
And what happens is it normal. So here's another thing. So this is what I talk about. So this leads into the opportunity of us to be able to surrender something in our life if we want something to go. Most people don't know how to surrender. Or you hear a lot of spiritual teachers will say something like,
Scott, for everybody listening on the podcast, my co-host, my wonderful dear friend and brother, he says, I like this new host better than our other guy. And he gives us happy faces and everything. And he talks about take the path less trodden.
But here's the thing: when people are going up, see people, they take maybe a meditation, and they'll say, okay, we're going to get rid of the baggage that we have. And so we're going to climb the mountain, and what we're going to do is everything that you've ever done, all the mistakes that you've made in life and everything else, we're going to climb up that mountain. And every time we get a little bit higher, we're going to drop off the baggage so that you feel lighter. And we're just going to surrender that. We're just going to drop it off. What they don't realize.
You make it sound so easy, but how do people just drop it off? Because I say the same thing. It's like, what would it feel like if you let all that stuff go? And they're like, well, it's not that easy, Chris. And I'm like, because you're choosing to hang on to it. It's a pride of honor for you, apparently, because it seems to be serving you, right?
Yeah, exactly. But also, here's the thing: if you drop it off, you're making a wrong decision. And why? I think, and Scott's going to love this. Why? Because what you think you've left, you still remain attached to, because you haven't learned what the power of surrender is. Because
Yeah,
when
you have
you
to really
drop,
wipe that hard drive, right? Because you can still refer back to it later, like truly surrendering or
well,
trying to forget it.
if you drop off a pack and you leave it halfway up the mountain, and you leave another pack a quarter way up the mountain, another pack, what happens to the people that are coming behind you? They trip over your bloody pack.
Yeah.
And instantly, the minute they trip over your baggage, they create an energetic connection to you. You're now connected to everybody else's baggage and your own baggage, and essentially you haven't learned to let anything go. So the power is not in just letting it go and thinking that you're lighter. The power is your connection and your relationship with the divine, with source,
Right.
whatever you want to call it, and having the capacity and understanding on how you will take your baggage or your package and you will surrender it. You will push it up. If that's what you can visualize and you can see, or you can be prayerful in the moment, you send it back to where it came from to be transmuted, not to be left behind so that someone can trip over it. The power of surrender is absolutely transformative if you understand what it means to surrender. It's not, and as you said, how do you do that? You have to bring, it's like a prayer. You have to bring every aspect of your mind, your body, your soul into that prayer for it to have any power at all. Most people don't know how to pray because they don't understand it. They don't know how to bring together and acquiesce the mind, the body, the soul as one. And in actual fact, and Scott will probably agree with this, we can go deeper than just those three levels. It can go higher and higher and higher and higher. But, for keeping it simplified, just think about that, the mind, the body, and soul, bringing all that together. Once you can bring that into one, then you're able to then understand and feel inside of you what it means to surrender. And there's people out there that surrender through an awakening, that surrender through, I don't like the term awakening, but a realization.
Yeah.
To have a self-realization and then understand the inherent power that's inside of them. Then they understand the power of surrender. Because you've also got to have in mind that every time is we're all interconnected. I'm no different than the seed in the ground. I'm connected. I'm no different to the ladies and gentlemen that are listening to this today. We're all connected. The consequences that I have in my actions, even spiritually, can affect anyone that I'm connected with. So if I keep that in mind, I'm also working within the rules of karma. I'm also working within the divine law of karma.
We can go down so many rabbit holes, dude. I mean, seriously, I don't usually take notes, but you're firing off some gems here, and there's a lot of different things that it's inspiring me to want to ask you. But I think in the grand scheme of things, because what you're saying is fire, I want to go. This is something I've been pondering in my mind for a while, and I want to get your take on this because I know you have an objective thought process on this, and you're always not afraid to push back on me, which I love. Some people are afraid to push back on me, which is ridiculous. It's like I need to learn. Like Walt does that too. He goes, I'll come up with an opinion or a thought about something. He goes, I'm going to push you back. I'm going to push back on this with you. Is that okay? And I'm like, yeah, cool. Bring it. I want to hear it. And he goes, well, okay, what about framing it this way? Or what about thinking about it this way? Free will. You mentioned before, you kept saying choice. And I've been hearing that word in my head a lot lately as well. Right. And so I've had this yin yang relationship with free will all my life. Like, do I really have choices? And do I have really free will? Is it all predestined? And for me, here's my take on it right now. And we want to get you guys listening and watching on this. What's your take on this? Write it in the comments. What's your take on free will and choice? Because now I see life at 55, just recently celebrating my 55th birthday. I'm realizing that I believe that life is somewhat predestined. I believe there's a path for us to travel in order to find our true greatness, to be able to find and experience the lessons that we need to learn. I believe we're here to learn those lessons. Like we have to keep repeating our lives in order to learn those lessons. So I believe it's somewhat predestined that we're supposed to learn these lessons. And I think, depending on the choices that we make, we're going to learn the lesson either the easy way or the hard way. And I think that's one of the things in life that I'm as passionate about, is like trying to get people to proactively find the leverage, see themselves having had enough before they get to that rock bottom space, right? Because we can always change when we hit rock bottom. That's not a problem.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on that? And thinking about free will and choice, because I do know I have choices, because when I look back on my life, I can clearly see, and I'm sure you can say the same thing, I can clearly see, like, if I did not make that choice in that moment, like if I didn't choose to go back and get my GED, am I sitting here right now? Am I sitting here right? If I didn't go back and get my GED, did I go to college? Did I get a master's degree? What did I do? Or did I stay working 3 jobs, working 7 days a week, broke? Like those little bitty choices I think about in my life. And I'm like, wow, that little bitty choice and that little fork in the road brought me right here. And I think that's the yellow brick road. Like I keep seeing the crackers and I keep taking the punishment. I go through the challenge. What are your thoughts, brother?
All right, we're going down a rabbit hole here, because I'm going to say something, and people are going to hate me for it. But hold on, because you'll get where I'm coming from. And actually, Chris has covered some of this. There is no such thing as free will in the fact of how man understands free will. Man understands free will that they can do whatever the hell they like, and they'll take the consequence, and they've got the power of choice to do whatever the hell they like. The reality is that we have restricted free will, because there's an element of destiny and predestination that we've agreed to achieve certain, if you like, I'm not a big thing for goals. I'm more into transformation than anything else, but let's just take that idea of goals, because it's easier to understand. So you have certain goals that you have agreed to do before you were incarnated. There's an element of predestiny in your life, which means that even if you have a choice, even if you use your power of choice to fulfill a humanistic desire, or even to follow an egoistic desire, then and it's not the right path for you, you are going to be guided back. Doors will close, and you will be guided back to where your destiny is supposed to be. So that means that, yes, we have free will to a restricted level. We have a restricted level.
How do we know what that level is? How do we know what that level is? How do we know when we're pushing up against an upper limit problem we can't overcome? Because for those of us who are fucking tenacious, I'll keep pounding my head against that wall, because I'll feel like I could break through. But sometimes I have to realize that wall is really a wall.
And you just answered the question. It's simple. You've just answered the question. If you're let's separate the mind from the brain. If your brain and your human experience is saying, I want to go through that wall because I know that when I go through that wall, everything on the other side is for me and it's amazing. And no matter what you do, you can't go through that wall. Though that's the power of the spirit, the divine. That is because you're predestined to go another path. And you'll find that no matter how much you try to get through that wall, you're not going to get through. And there's never going to be any brick that's going to get loose. And then what happens is you come to that aha moment, Chris, and you go, I can't get through this freaking wall. I'm just going to go around it. And then all of a sudden you find that, whoa, the path's a bit easier here. Doors are opening here. Oh, I'm just met someone who's going to take me down this other path. And oh my God, if I hadn't gone around the wall or around the fence, I would never have met you. And then my life wouldn't have changed. Sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, no matter how many doors you knock upon, they won't open because it is not in your destiny. And then that is the power of discernment to realize, hang on, okay, that's not where I'm meant to go. So show me the path. Connect with divine source. Show me how to get round there. Show me if this wall is not breaking down, then for goodness sake, guide me to the door that I can walk through. It'll happen. Very simple. If you're trying everything and it's not happening, it's not in your destiny.
Do something different. Yeah, exactly. The same thing. That's what I challenge myself on sometimes, is we've had those deep conversations between you and I about, what is Chris doing? What's my ultimate goal here? Is it the podcast? Is it speaking? Is it authoring? Is it coaching? Is it consulting? Blah, 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 blah. Youth mentoring. Now I had a vision while I was meditating today that I should be speaking in prisons. and just like slapped me in the head. I was just like, it was like, boom, you should be speaking at prisons. Like, you're tough. You can go in there. You can hopefully maybe transition some of these people to think differently about their lives. Like, I could have that power with them. I could speak frankly. And I was just like, boom, I should be speaking at prisons, right? We got to change what it is that we're thinking about, what we're focusing on, to be able to get those different results. And I love what you said there, because really,
stop. What is the most important part of what you said in that? And everybody listen, what is the most important part of what you said?
To change, I guess. I don't know. I was in flow. I wasn't really thinking about what I was saying. I was just trusting my heart.
Exactly. You said I was in meditation and I wasn't, and then all of a sudden
I wasn't in the monkey brain.
Something came into my mind, a sense, an intuitive feeling. It's not coming from the world of matter. It's coming from the world of spirit. It's not coming from the world of matter, because the world of matter doesn't matter, right? Those little nuances, those little push, the little intuitive feelings, the influences from a divine spirit, from a divine source that says, hey, here's a little thing, here's a little seed that'll plant, a seed of a thought, will plant in your mind, and then we'll allow the brain to take it in and receive it. And the mind can send it, can send it out there, can send that signal, and the brain can receive it. So from there, your divine source is your intuitive power. And you're listening, whether you call it your heart, your spirit, whatever else. That's the most important thing, ladies and gentlemen, not what the world, the material world, is telling you should be,
right?
But where those little moments in the mind, the divine mind, your spirit. Remember, your mind is a psychological building blocks of your reality.
Mm-hmm.
Your mind holds the power.
Your beliefs create your attitude, and your attitude creates your actions. 3
principles. I'm sure people have out there heard of 3 principles. Sydney Banks, mind, consciousness, and thought. Really kind of 3 simple, if you like, ideas or rule or understanding of how the universe operates, or how you can conceptualize it. And it's simple. And you said it. You had that moment, and you had that. Mm. Let's think about, Beethoven, some of the greatest musicians, the greatest
Fifth Symphony, baby. Fifth Symphony.
They didn't go and someone said to them, I want you to paint the Mona Lisa. I want you to paint this woman. It was conceptualized. The music was conceptualized from a divine source, from outside the material reality. And it became form. Because from the formless becomes form through the power of the animating force that exists, that is creation. Everything comes from mind. It does. It really does. I mean, that's so beautiful, dude. I know after the show, I'm going to make snippets out of this conversation. I know there's going to be so many gems in there. You're dropping bombs. Like, I mean, I sit there and I told you, like, we could go for 2 or 3 hours. We could do a telethon. I want to shift gears a little bit, because I did put this in the show promo. That's what I originally titled the show. Why do we do what we do? Because I was thinking, what can I go deep with Jock? And we've got about 10, 15 minutes or so. Why do you think we do what we do? Like, I know it's a very broad thing, but let's try to. What the fuck is that? What the heck is that? Was that on you? Why did you get balloons? Did you do that? I don't know. I haven't seen that. I'll thumbs up, see what happens. Hey! Oh, it's my camera. Obviously, it's got software I didn't even know it had. Mine doesn't do shit. Fuck you, software. Balloons. How'd you get the balloons? Oh, right. For all you guys out there that are watching, this is for you guys. Come on, give us some balloons. There we go. Balloons. Look at that. That's pretty cool. What kind of what's that? What's doing that? A little side part conversation. What technology is that? Jock's always getting toys. Jock's always getting toys, guys. I'm massive into photography and cameras. It's an Opal C1 camera. Oh, Opal C1. Yeah, sure. The Opal C1. Really good. Okay. So before we talk about why we do what we do,
because I want to go there. I want to actually grab a couple of these comments because I forgot people were chiming in here on my question about do we think we have free will? So let's see what we got here. Nelly from Hooked on Humanity says, yeah, that divine source will always show you the way. Absolutely. Be open to that guidance. Know it knows even more than you do. And I got to say something for everybody out there who's watching this, who may not have known me in my prior life, prior to doing the Unfiltered Experience. I was not this type of person. I was not the meditative person. I was not the chakra person. I was not the vibration frequency, binaural beats, that kind of person. I was not. My tagline, literally, I've changed it now. I still joke around with that. But I help you overcome your self-created crap without the self-help fluffy bullshit. Yeah. This stuff, the fluffy bullshit, right? Do we have free? I don't fucking care. I have a choice to make whether or not I'm going to be successful or not. And I'm going to make that choice. That's what I thought. So to answer, like to dig in what Nelly's saying, when you get still, when you stop the chase, you stop the pursuit, you stop thinking I will be happy when you stop that shit and you stop and you really think, right? The book Think and Grow Rich says think for a particular reason. We don't take time to think. We just go, do. We're human doings instead of human beings. And so I love what Nelly said there is about be open to that guidance, because I'm not a religious person, but I will sit there and I will talk to my spirit guides. If I have spirit guides, I don't care if I do or not. It helps me to communicate it out of my body to say what I want. I'm clearly saying, I'm asking my spirit guides, please give me this. I'm telling the universe, please give me this. I'm saying it externally to say that I'm serious about this. I'm not going to keep this inside of myself, because I'm going to sit there and communicate it out to the world, because if there is something to that shit, then I want to fucking be I want to be a part of that. And I've seen other people reap the benefits of that. So yes. I want to grab Ted's comment here. Well, Ted's in the hospital, by the way. So let's send lots of love to Ted. Ted had a quadruple bypass surgery. Ted's in my coaching program. So let's see what Ted says.
Some prayers and healing. Yeah.
Yeah, he's rocking and rolling. He says, those lessons are meant to get us back on track. If you bring your past mistakes again, you just keep choosing to repeat the same loop. Yep. If you let God transform you and choose the other better path, you close the door to the bad past, open the other door and conquer the challenges holding you back. You have victory, aha moments that give you a better way. You need to forgive yourself and ask God for forgiveness and own up to your own mistakes and to change to get through your destined door. Well said, Ted. What do you think about what Ted said right there, Jock?
I think it's brilliant. I will say one thing.
Okay.
Ted, you never need to ask yourself for forgiveness, and you never need to expect forgiveness from anyone. Think about what I said right at the beginning. It's the judgment of the situation. Because anybody who does any wrong to you or anything that you've done that you perceive as a mistake, there's no need for you to forgive yourself for it. There's no power in that. What causes the suffering is the judgment of you saying, I did wrong.
Judgment.
So the judgment is the key. Let go of the judgment. Forgiveness is natural. Forgiveness doesn't even need to come into play, because when you forgive the judgment, it's already gone. The problem with people's understanding of forgiveness is that we think it's something that's bad and it's something that we have to seek repentance or something for. And you don't. You judge it. And you also judge it by the false perceptions and expectations of the material world as well.
That.
Right? Mm-hmm. So I want everybody out there to start thinking about, don't judge yourself. And it doesn't mean, and I've got a video that I did on forgiveness that I'm happy to send to anybody that wants to do. I did a lesson many years ago, but it's still valid today. Forgiveness is not a skill. It's not something that you get good at. It's a divine power inside of you, but it's the judgment that causes the suffering. Let go of the judgment, and it brings harmony into the situation immediately from the mind. The mind is the psychological building blocks of your reality.
Boom. See, that's what's up. What he said. I couldn't paraphrase that if I had to. Nelly says, keep searching for the truth and love. Keep searching for the truth and love, and we will stay in touch with that divine source. Absolutely, Nelly. Yeah. Nelly is a success story and a half. So, baby, definitely connect with Nelly. She's out there making a difference in the world every single day. Ted says here, remember they had to experience horrible things to finally get to their destiny. God gives us paths. The devil plays with those paths. 100%, man. 100%. I think that Will Smith said it so best. No. It was Jesus Christ. That wasn't him.
Oh, it wasn't
Jesus Christ. Nope. It was God, I'm trying to remember. doesn't matter. I mean, it was the guy at the Oscars. He's a very well-known, famous black actor. I'm trying to think of the movies he's been in. Denzel Washington.
Denzel Washington.
So
Right,
Denzel
okay.
Washington told
He's great.
Will Smith, he goes, when you're at your highest, when you're at your peak, that's when the devil will challenge you the most. And that's kind of what happened. He was at his peak. Like, he just came out with that book, which I absolutely loved his book. I love Will Smith. He was a great guy. And then when they saw that, my opinion, everything just went, wow, you had so many moments right there to think, is this a good choice? And you went up there and fucking thought that was a good choice. I didn't think that was a good choice. Respect level lost. So yes, definitely we have to go through those experiences, because as we grow through those experiences, like you said before, it's that choice. Can I look at, and that was for me, the really healing part, can I look at the fact I was homeless and all those different experiences and realize that if I choose to learn from those and I choose to grow from those, I'm happy that they happen. I don't want to repeat them, but I'm not happy. That's a bad word. I'm thankful. I'm grateful. Like I was talking with my wife the other day. I don't know if we're being tough enough on our son, because my mom was tough on me and I hated it in the moment. But as an adult, I look back now, she taught me structure. She taught me discipline. She taught me hustle. She taught me to do things I didn't feel like doing and want to do. So I'm really actually grateful for that. But I want to switch gears because we got a few minutes left, and I want to go back to that original jumping off point that I gave you when you held up your hand. I'm actually been remembering everything tonight. It's been kind of crazy. That last show I did on Tuesday, I can't remember shit. I kept fucking losing my shit. We got Jody in the house. What's up, Jody? I got a chance to meet Jody in person. She's going to be on the Raw and Unscripted show, my other show, on my Tuesday night show. She's going to be on that coming up here pretty soon. She's got an amazing story as well. So thank you, Jody, for joining us. This person right here, Mr. Jock Brocas, is a personal mentor of mine and a dear friend of mine. So why do we do what we do, Mr. Jock Brocas? And then we're going to talk about where they can find out how to get a hold of you and all that beautiful stuff.
Two things. Expectations of others and your own passions from your own inner guidance.
Okay, let's dig into that first one. Expectations of others or from others.
So we have rules, regulations, everything else. Why do we do what we do? Why does someone who is there's an individual that is that's on our university program, and she was pushed into family, pushing her into the position she needed to be in legal, medical, whatever. And you see that happens all the time. And we tend to
get in the family business. You should follow your dad's footsteps.
We tend to fall into the expectations that other people have, and so it's like, it's the expectations. The great thing in America is the expectations: married, kid, to a house, car, everything else, 9-to-5 job. There's the expectations. We tend to follow that pattern because that's what's expected. But the person who is passionate and has something deep inside of them that doesn't sit right, and they're like, I want to do something differently. The photographer who doesn't want to become a doctor, but becomes a photographer because he wants to capture moments. He wants to go on the street and capture moments and share that beautiful imagery to ignite passion in someone else's heart. He does it because he's passionate, and that's what's driving him from his spirit, from his soul, to express what's in his soul. But some of us only follow the materialistic line or the materialistic path because that is the expectation. So your question is in two ways: expectations and your own passions.
Love it, Jock Brocas. Thank you very much, my brother. Been going for 48 minutes for those guys keeping score at home. Man, so many beautiful points in this. I'm gonna recap this and when I close out the show. But in the interest of having people continue this conversation with you, where can people get a hold of you? Where's a good place for them to go?
You can get hold of me on jockbrocas.com. You can get
spell it for the people listening.
Julia Oscar Charlie Kilo Bravo Romeo Oscar Charlie Alpha Sierra.com.
How's that for people not in the military?
JOCKBROCAS.
Okay, no wait. You just got yourself in a problem for being a little smartass. I told my wife the other day, and I said, I love when I said Jock and I have these conversations, and sometimes I can't understand what the fuck he's saying because he has such a thick accent. And I told her about your American accent. So now I want you to say your name, spell your name in your American accent.
Oh my God, nobody's ever asked me to spell it in American. Okay. JOCKBR OCAS y'all.com.
Oh my God. See what you got yourself into. So actually use your American voice, like just to say something, like just to give some final words in your American voice, and that'll really cement it in for people because it'll be
Honestly,
funny, it'll be inspiring.
I can go into Starbucks and ask them for a cappuccino now in American, but obviously I can't give you any wisdom in an American accent because I just
You've
don't
done
have
it
it.
before. You've done it before. I've seen you. You did it when we did the little our little Visioneering 5 experience.
What did I say? Oh no, you put him in the. All right, okay. Let's see. What can I say? All right, I can't do it. Follow your heart, y'all.
Listen here, y'all. You got to
Listen
follow
here,
your heart.
y'all.
You got to get in touch with your
Yeah, get in
intuitions and
touch with your inner wisdom.
your wisdom.
Get in touch with the divine and
Mhm.
live your life. Amen. Hallelujah.
Oh my God, dude. I'm loving this. This is so funny. Nelly says here, wow, perfect or petfict. My brother, I appreciate you so much. I'm gonna place you backstage. Don't go anywhere so I can still have a word with you. I love you and I appreciate you. You're amazing. You're awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, connect with Jock Brocas, JockBrocas. He's an amazing dude. He's got all sorts of amazing talents. Check him out. I'm gonna put you backstage, brother. Don't go anywhere. Say thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
It was a pleasure being on your show.
Thank you, y'all.
You did a great job.
Thanks, y'all.
Thank you. Y'all. Y'all. What's up, y'all? Man, this has been a blast tonight. This has been so much fun. I'm glad I did this. I miss Scott. Scott and I roll every Friday night. So in case you guys don't know that, Friday night, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I wanted to bring somebody on here who had that spiritual aspect of their life because that's what we do here. This is why this show is different from the Raw and Unscripted show. People ask me, like, why do you do two shows? I do two shows because this one I get to do with Scott and we get to talk about spiritual aspects. And I'm like the bull in the china shop and he's the shaman. He's the guy that brings the eloquence to the rough edges that I bring to the conversation. And we essentially say the same thing, but it's cool the relationship that we have. So we miss Scott. Thank you, Scott, for popping on and supporting the show. Thank you guys all for being here. We've got Mary Kay in the house. We got Coach in the house. I haven't talked to Coach in a while. He's talking about maybe. We got Ted Legal in the house. Thank you, brother, all the way from the hospital. Robert Broker in the house. Thank you guys so much. We've got Nelly in the house, Jody in the house. Ted says here, I just want to grab this last comment before I close this all out. Don't go anywhere because this stuff is wisdom. Ted says here, the information that you have in your brain and your soul will guide you down the right path if you let it. Other people may judge you, change and realize that you are not the person they are judging anymore. Oh, amen to that, motherfucker. Amen. If their loss, it's their loss if they don't take the time to see the changes. 100%. Big time. And Ted goes on to say here in another message, he says, get in touch with your inner cowboy. Is that what he was saying? 100%, man. You got to get in touch with your inner cowboy. I want to give you guys a recommendation. I actually need to get this author on the show. What Jock was really talking about there towards the end is we're talking about expectations and things of that nature. Top five regrets of the dying. This book by Bronnie Ware. It's an amazing book. I just made a note. Scott and I keep talking about it because we talk about it so much on the show. It's such an impactful book. It's about the hospice nurse sitting with these dying patients. I mean, there's a lot of stories in here, and trust me, I read it. It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking to get to the end of your life and realize that you fucked up. It's heartbreaking to get to that end of your moment and realize you have no more time left, that you spent it all and you did not take the actions that you should have taken. You did not take the risks that you should have and you wanted to take. You lived in that mediocre space. You allowed and you accepted yourself to be mediocre. You allowed and accepted yourself to put a marker someday that you're going to be happy. That when you're going to be happy is when you have money. When you're going to be happy when you have a person in your life. You're going to be happy when this. Be happy right now, guys. I want you to really seriously consider this. When are you going to die? Is it tomorrow? Is it 2 weeks from now? Is it 2 months from now? 2 years from now? 2 decades from now? What is it going to be? We don't know. We really don't know. And I don't want you to, and I'm talking to myself when I do this, ladies and gentlemen. I'm 55 years old. I can see the writing on the wall. The average life expectancy in the world is 78. Now, if we want to get down to brass tacks, you do the math. And you think about, okay, so if I got 23 summers left, whatever it might be, and that's what I think about is like in 23 years or 25 years. And of course, we're living longer. Technology is changing. I plan to live to be 120. So I'm not really worried about it. I'm just getting fired up right now. I figure with everything that I've learned now in being 55, I'm going to crush it over the next 30 years and retire when I'm 100. But that's not the point I'm trying to make here. Is the fact is that when you think about the fact that you're not living on point, you're not living true to who you're supposed to be, and you get to the end of that journey and you realize that you could have taken more actions and more responsibility and had more discipline in your life, Regrets suck. It's painful to read that book. It's heartbreaking. I was crying and listening to some of these stories because so many people just stayed in that victim state. They just chose and they just said it's a badge of honor. This is the reason why I can't be successful, Chris, because I've been through all these things. Oh, well, it was me. Like, okay, well, hang on to that shit and I'll see you later. Like, call me in 20 years and let me know how you're doing. Let me know how your health is and everything else, because I'm sure you're going to your short-term gratifications, poisoning yourself because you don't want to face reality. You don't want to deal with the truth. And then guess what? You're going to be on diabetic medication and heart medication and cholesterol medication. And you're going to be like, fuck, I wish I would have taken better care of myself. I wish I would have gone out there and risked forts that mattered. I wish I would not have stayed in toxic relationships because I was scared. I didn't think there was any place I could go. Stop with the excuses, ladies and gentlemen. The excuses, when you eliminate them, guess what you start doing? You take that progressive action. Tonight, we talked on the show about so many different things. We talked about free will. We talked about, why do we do what we do? We talked about really like letting go and surrendering. Like, what would it feel like if you no longer carried the hate and the anger and the resentment of all the people that have wronged you in your life, right? Oh, I'm this way, Chris, because, and then people tell me like, oh, da, 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 da. And I'm like, who do you love most in this world? And they tell me everybody else but themselves. There's something wrong with that, ladies and gentlemen. You need to love yourself. You need to take care of yourself first. You need to take care of the 5: hydration, nutrition, sleep, exercise, and vitamin D. Half your body weight in ounces of water. Drink lots of water. This is why I look really good, ladies and gentlemen. This is on 55. Pretty good, right? Yeah, I've got some grays and whatnot. I'm starting to get a little turkey neck, but hey, I take care of myself and I'm charged up. Can you see this? I've been going all fucking day, right? I drink my water. I get my sleep. I track my sleep with a sleep ring. I get my vitamin D. I take my supplements. I go out there and I do great things in the world and I'm grateful for it. And I live in the moment and I'm blessed and I continue to share my gifts with all of you guys and I'm on point. I want you to do that for as well. So if any of this has inspired you, get in touch with me. Let me know. Get in touch with Scott. We both have programs out there that will help you. His Go Love Now program, I've been a part of it before. I've helped him coach teach it. It's a 12-week program. It's amazing. He's starting it up here pretty soon. Go to scottgoyette.com or scottgoyetteofficial.com. Check it out. And then my program, also my group accountability coaching program, you can DM me if you're really interested. It's super affordable and it will change your life. With that, ladies and gentlemen, please take to heart what we said here tonight. Take action items. Write three things down. Like I said at the beginning of the show, go back and watch the beginning of the show if you came in halfway, because it's all golden. And I'm not just saying that because it is good. I'm saying that because when you apply those things in your life, it will change and you will find that strength and that resiliency to make better choices and decisions and really live in your true brilliance. Okay. I love you guys. Remember, Raw and Unscripted Tuesday night, 7 p.m. We got an amazing guest coming up for you guys right there, rawandunscripted.com. Go out there, be the person that you are meant to be. And please tell us about that. And don't forget, theunfilteredexperience.com as well. Bye.